Density is the measure of how compact the mass in a substance or object is. The formula for density is density equals mass divided by volume. The SI unit for density is kilogram per meter cubed. In experiment 1, which was sink or swim, this was to see if the objects would sink to the bottom of the jar or float. And our conclusion was the raisin, the penny, and the paperclip sank to the bottom of the jars. Therefore, it is denser than the liquids. We also noticed that the paperclip and all other objects in the corn syrup sank very slowly. In experiment 2, which was mix it up, the purpose of this experiment was to examine which was the most dense water, corn syrup, or vegetable oil. To achieve this, we poured all the liquids into one jar. The liquids separated due to the density of each liquid when left to settle. The most dense liquid was corn syrup. Then the liquid in the middle, which was water. Then vegetable oil had less density than the rest, so it was on the top. Experiment 3. Hot and cold. This experiment was to see if density changes based on the temperature of water. We did this by heating up water using blue and red food coloring to distinguish the hot and cold water. And we used food coloring blue and red, blue for cold water and red for hot water. The result of this experiment was the cold water went to the bottom of the hot water, and the hot water stayed to the top. The reason for this was as heat is added to the liquid, the greater the kinetic energy and more movement between the liquid. So the hot water was less dense than the cold water. Finally, in experiment 4, which was salt and sweet, we did this to prove if adding salt or sugar would affect density of the water. So what we did was we tested to see if the sugar and water was more dense than the salt and water. And our results was that the salt water was more dense than the sugar water because salt has a greater density than the sugar.